But here's the bottom line. CAIR has created several organizations, one of which is a 501c3. And as a 501c3, meaning an IRS recognized charitable organization that's only allowed a very limited amount of opportunity to do any lobbying, and must report all donors who give more than $5,000 to them in any annual period. They must report that to the IRS. What we uncovered were tax records and other corporate documents that suggested that CAIR was operating through several entities to hide the fact that they were receiving millions of dollars from overseas. How did the Council on American Islamic Relations become a new organization called the Council on American Islamic Relations Action Network, Inc.?
Right.
And how did this other organization, which was actually the 501c3, CAIR Foundation, come into existence? What was the relationship between the two, the financial ties? And in testimony under oath, he essentially conceded he had no idea. What this amounts to, though, and this is what tipped us to this money laundering scheme. In the course of that litigation, they had to provide us even more tax documentation. We also filed a FOIA with the IRS, which gave us more information. Here's what we know. CAIR gets tiny donations, literally tiny donations from domestic Muslims. Amounts to tens of thousands a year. They have a budget of late to the tune of $2.5 to $3.5 million a year. Because the original CAIR, founded in 1994 by Nihad Awad and Omar Ahmed, that organization essentially is now a for-profit corporation that only has to report the amount of income. It does not have to report the source of income. Very important. So CAIR is now getting these millions of dollars from overseas, from the Gulf, and we have a list of them, and we've provided it to Trento TV so they can actually provide it to the audience. Listing of the Embassy of the UAE, Qatar,
right here they are.
Saudi Arabian entities.
This is a document found in discovery. Right here we have a document where Adnan Hamzi Boghari from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, made a little donation to CAIR.
Just a little small donation.
Now, I don't know who he made it to. We're going to ask David, but he made a $600,000 donation. This is an individual, it's marked person, from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Now, you know, that's not chicken scratch. When you give somebody 600 large, usually there's a quid pro quo in the world I grew up in. Now, the next one underneath that mark, put that one back up. David is referencing this.
That was from the UAE Embassy in Washington, D.C.
Right.
The UAE Embassy.
That would be United Arab Emirates.
Right.
How much was that little ditty for?
$219,563.
Oh, okay.
But
there's a line through
they still
the
mark it
screen
as
there.
a person, though it came from the embassy. That's interesting. And then this next one is great. This one is from the Kingdom Holding Company.
The kingdom
Now,
itself.
as a Christian, we use the word kingdom for God's heaven.
I don't think that's what they
I
mean.
don't think
That's not
so.
that one.
Kingdom Holding Company in Saudi Arabia. Again, a person, $199,000.
$199,980. $199,000.
I wonder how they come up with these numbers.
The next donation is quite interesting. CAIR California.
Oh,
CAIR,
we deal with them all the time, actually.
CAIR California gave a donation to CAIR for $99,000.
Very interesting. David, we are not forensic accountants here at Trento Vision, but you and your team that discovered this information in discovery for, sounds like a multiple series of lawsuits, litigation against CAIR. What is the gist of this over $1 million here easily? What does this mean?
And what we know is that $1 million is actually $3 million, $3.5 million on a pretty annualized basis. What happens? think of this organization right here in my right hand as CAIR Foundation, a C3. CAIR Foundation has to report any donation over $5,000 to the IRS. It's important because we don't want charitable organizations being fed money from illicit sources or foreign sovereigns, in which they will be doing the foreign sovereign's business in the name of charitable work as opposed to lobbying. Now think of this organization as that original CAIR founded in 1994, which is now just a regular corporation. It has to report total income, but it doesn't have to report sources. What happens? Any of these people writes a check to the charity or to the for-profit corporation, who do they write a check to?
CAIR, same
They
thing
write it
either
to
way.
CAIR, C-A-I-R. Both of these organizations have a bank account with the same name.
Right.
Well, actually,
CAIR
Let him
decides
finish.
which bank account they're going to put the money in. If it's a small donation from a
Right.
little Muslim in Texas, well, they'll declare it on the
Yeah.
CAIR Foundation. If it's a
Right.
big check, they want to hide because they're doing the biddings of the UAE embassy. Who are they going to give that money to? To the for-profit corporation.
Well,
The for-profit
Hang on.
corporation is then going to transfer it to the foundation. And how does the foundation, the charitable organization, report that money? It came from CAIR.
right.
They've hid the fact that they're acting as a foreign agent, which is illegal if you're not registered, and they've disguised the source of the funds of an international transfer, which is also money laundering.